Record.
So Cullen from 3Diligent, if you could share your screen and go ahead.
All right, we should be off and running. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the audience. And the discussions I had with Ann and Jim was that the talk today might be best served for the audience to emphasize more on our product as opposed to the investment component of things. So I've skewed that way with the deck, but to the extent there are investment questions or anything like that, more than happy to field them or add additional color on offline. So again, we're really kind of providing a company overview today, and 3Diligent is an Industry 4.0 software and services company. So we're based here in Los Angeles in El Segundo, and the philosophy we've had since our initial founding, and kind of the story of our company really is me and my brother Wyatt bootstrapped for the last several years, and now we're in the midst of venture scaling for a number of reasons I'll spell out in a few moments about critical mass that exists in the digital manufacturing industry. But our philosophy from the beginning was to accelerate innovation by providing a platform that connects innovative companies seeking cutting-edge manufacturing solutions and materials with the suppliers who've made investments in those cutting-edge machines and materials, and in so doing, making innovation and development of new products significantly more cost-effective and efficient. And the end state, realize the concept of distributed digital manufacturing, this idea that with digital design files and different machines in different places, we're able to standardize to some extent output so you can get an on-demand response to meet the needs of a demand. So instead of going overseas and planning in advance and having challenges with your supply chain, instead be able to fulfill on demand. And that becomes particularly relevant in the current COVID world that we're talking about right now, where we experienced a significant set of shocks to the supply chain, initially by the trade war, and then of course now by COVID, where there were major PPE shortages across hospitals, and there was a need for rapid response, and frankly, no standardized platform within which to manage that. So what you ended up hearing stories of, or fantastic stories of people rising to the challenge and manufacturing things for free and dropping them off at a nearby hospital, but oftentimes producing the wrong items that actually didn't work for the purposes they were necessarily intended, or necessarily meeting a particular quality standard. So to the extent that could be standardized and streamlined on a platform, that really is now becoming an increasing imperative, both at a governmental level as well as at a corporate level. And that is exactly what 3Diligent is and is set out to build. It is building a market network for the manufacturing industry, specifically the digital manufacturing industry. So on our Valkyrie platform, we have two key products we'll touch on today. ProdEx, which is a procurement marketplace, basically your service bureau or machine shop in the sky, or in the cloud, to use the term properly. And then Shopsight, which is a manufacturing excellence software that each of our suppliers runs in support of ProdEx job opportunities, as well as outside of the context of those job opportunities. So as I mentioned, we've been in the game for a few years prior to building this platform, which is new as of just a couple months ago. And so we're able to rapidly bring on to that supply that exists across 6 continents, 20 countries, about 350 suppliers, and within that, thousands of machine and material combinations. So from a big data standpoint, customers come in, submit their request to us, and then we're able to analyze reams of data to identify not only the solutions that will work, but then also the pricing that would be appropriate to fulfill that work across our global network. So ProdEx is the first product. You can see a little bit illustrated here. I don't think we'll have time for a demo, although this deck has some slides at the end for that. But you can see within this interface fairly standardized elements of where you can upload designs, analyze designs. What's really unique about this relative to anything else on the market is first defining your RFQ profile, so you can narrow down the list of suppliers eligible based on country, based on certifications, based on the part certifications you require for work. And then also you can get extraordinarily detailed about the platforms you want to run a job on. So if you want to replicate what you're already having done on your existing manufacturing facility, you can request that specific machine, that specific material from that specific supplier, or you can generalize and say, I want anything made out of anything. I'm doing cheap ergonomic prototypes, and I do not need to go super detailed. So you can submit an RFQ for something like all polymers or all titaniums, or you can get so specific as to say, I need aluminum 10 Si magnesium from EOS. What we're also about to launch in the next couple weeks is our ProdEx Connect products, which is allowing you, if you have suppliers you already work with, to add them into the interface and submit RFQs through the system. And then additionally, to the extent you don't have those suppliers or you'd like to create competition for an RFQ, you can simply utilize our system to say, I'd like to add additional vendors to this. And then we have Zoom integration baked into the system, so you can have exchanges with those suppliers, and in a COVID universe, communicate in a way that you might otherwise have needed to go and actually visit the production site to do. The corresponding counterweight to the vendor side is Shopsight manufacturing excellence software, which assess price job opportunities utilizing big data and cloud compute power to basically make what's a pretty laborious task, if anybody's ever worked in a job shop scenario, happen extraordinarily fast, and then additionally track and trace job opportunities from receipt through to completion. And so that's super relevant for all the quality certifications that individual suppliers have, and it's super relevant to us on the ProdEx side, making sure that we have consistent quality on every job. And you can see here just a visualization of some of the instant pricing that's generated by the system. And that, of course, is bundled into our that is where people are connecting via Zoom and integrated within the actual software platform. The last leg of this is that the interest that we've received has come from many angles, but particular interest from the federal government, and that is as it relates to some of these supply chain concerns and avoiding the kind of circumstances we've faced in the present state. And the way we expect to be servicing those markets, for the most part, is through the fact that this is all constructed as a collection of microservices. And so the functionality is API callable, and we can spool up white label instances of the software within AWS, GovCloud, or on premises. But to kind of bring it back to the story of the company, ProdEx and Shopsight, they're all building upon existing successes we've had in the market. You can see there Skyscraper, the second tallest building in Seattle, that was built with a collection of 3D printed aluminum nodes that were manufactured through our network. And what we're really envisioning with this next step towards a market network, and the Connect products are most salient for that, is in supporting a lot of production that brings many parties together to support a successful execution of a project on a single platform. We have a great book of customers and existing industry relationships. You can see some ongoing and active participation. America Makes, a seat on the World Economic Forum's 3D Printing Trade Logistics Group, etc. And last but not least, I'll highlight the team. Outstanding team. I'm extraordinarily proud of having, I mentioned Wyatt and I from the get-go, my background from management consulting and keen interest in Industry 4.0, and then Wyatt from the tech industry, but then also Kartik, who's built a lot of scalable secure systems for Symantec, Bank of America, and Booking Holdings, and then Kyle, who joined us from NASA and Aerojet Rocketdyne. So with that, this is usually when I hand the reins over to demo the product, but I think in the interest of time, we'll blow past that. And then I will open the door to questions, and I've got some appendix slides too, if we want to dig in any more of the investment side stuff.
Thanks, Cullen. Appreciate that. It is very good. Have you spoken to Lockheed Martin lately? They're apparently running behind on their F-35 stuff, so might find some luck.
Just go and knock on some doors over there. We've had some interesting communications with Lockheed, big organization, obviously. So I'm not sure the specific piece that you're chatting about, but you touch on some interesting points where for one of the key applications we expect the platform to fulfill is on-demand spare part manufacturing. So obviously there are, particularly in the 3D printed world, the future of aerospace is 3D printed because of some of the unique geometries you can achieve, performance in parts. But then also at relatively small quantities, printing things on demand from both a repair standpoint and a production standpoint is immensely valuable.
I say the F-35 because in the news lately they're complaining that because of COVID-19 the supply chain is going to get thin and some of the deliveries might not happen by the end of the year as promised. So so that's not so good. But I have another question. I know this might sound esoteric, and it certainly might sound esoteric for the participants on this call today. But in the since there's no other questions coming through the Q&A section, could we put say if we're sitting on the moon, Space Force have got their base on the moon now, and they need to order up some spare parts. Can they log onto your software and get that delivered through an active supply chain that gets them their product delivered to their moon base?
You know, our coverage on the moon is a little light at the minute. We are on 6 continents. We have not tapped Antarctica. We have yet to tap the moon. So aspirational to be sure. And we've chatted with the guys at Made in Space. So International Space Station, not completely out of play, although it hasn't been as vital a business opportunity for us so far.
But they can, but theoretically, what I'm saying is theoretically you can order up something and it can be made and then pretty much shipped anywhere, right?
Oh yeah, unequivocally on that point, yeah. So yeah, if they're on the moon, and I do think that that's an interesting case example, but again, we would probably want to start setting up operations on the space station to avoid the cost of getting it out into orbit. But you're right, regardless of where you are and what you need, I mean, the power of the system is dynamic utilization of supply wherever on the planet it is for whatever it is that you specifically need. And, you know, I know this is heavy on the tech side, and I kind of talked more about the underlying product, but that's a lot of where the guts of this exist, is in the power of the processing of this much data. And then there are AI components of this that are coming online as well to power a lot of the decision-making that goes into how we fulfill our procurement, how we price, and how we improve that over time.